You're welcome to another episode of the Never Lose a Deal podcast, where we talk about creative financing and real estate. So, for the past couple of weeks, I have been talking about raising capital primarily with self directed IRAs. And so today's episode is going to be mindset beliefs with raising capital. And I'm going to kind of unpack some of the things that people um, that limits them to this conversation. But before I go through that, I want to first address the elephant in the room, and that is raising capital is not for everyone. Let me repeat, raising capital is not for everyone. And what do you mean by that, Laroya? And that is what we're going to talk about in today's show. But the reason why I say raising capital is not for everyone, because for myself, I'm not new to the conversation of funding. Raising capital primarily with self directed IRAs for real estate is one of the pillars that I have been sharing as well as working with my clients since I've been talking about the conversation of funding. So it is not new to me. But the reason why I said that raising capital is not for everyone is with the topic in hand today about mindset beliefs. Because a lot of people love the idea of raising capital. How can I get some money? And many people are not really ready to have that conversation. So that is why, with the work that I do and how I help clients, that is usually the last pillar that I work with a client on when it comes to raising capital. Why? Because I'm a big advocate and proponent of you should first leverage your own money when it comes to real estate, however that looks for you. If you have worked with me and we've been able to get you access to capital in terms of business funding, or maybe it's with credit cards, or maybe it's some asset-based investor loans, you now have some type of traction that can get you going. What I find with people who have never gotten any traction with anything that they've done before, they want to jump to raising capital when they really don't have anything to measure it against, which is why they hit a brick wall. Because this is what most people will sell you, especially here on the internet and on this online space. A lot of people will grab little sound bites. Oh, that's the new play. Self-directed IRAs, real estate. And what happens is they give a lot of people a lot of information. And there are, at the end of the day, there are people who just consume and consume information. And so they think they have these gems. Like, oh man, I come across some great information, self directed IRAs. I can now leverage it for real estate. And what happens is many of these people have been sold the idea of self directed IRAs, being able to leverage it for real estate, but then they have no context of how to use it. Now, for 2 years, for 2 years, I have had to help people to get clear, and when I say get clear, meaning eliminate a lot of the confusion when it came to business credit. I had so many people who had came to me who was sold the idea of what they can do with business credit and business funding, but there were pivotal things that they didn't have in place. They didn't understand the context of what they were looking to get and the result that they wanted. And so then now they're looking for someone to help them to unpack it. And so that is why I'm very keen on letting people know, when I talk about a particular topic, who I am addressing it to. Because I never want to be salacious and have people to believe that when it comes to me, that I can help them obtain something that they have never tried to do themselves. Going back to raising capital. What does this, I've said all that. What does that have to do with today? Mindset beliefs. Well, when it comes to raising capital, the question that I always have, and these are things that I communicate with clients, is not nothing that I just freely do. When you hear that term raising capital, there are certain things that are going to trigger you. For some people, it's going to trigger uh, there's an abundance of money that that I could just get access to, and there are no repercussions to it. That could be the first thing. Somebody's going to give me a whole bunch of money, but I don't really have to be responsible enough to steward their money. Then there are people who may have the mindset belief of, oh wow, there's $12 trillion available of self-directed IRA owners who are willing and ready to invest with individuals' real estate. What do I need to do? How do I need to position my business to be able to strengthen my ask to be able to get those funds? You notice two different mindsets. One person believes that they can get something for nothing. How can they get something for nothing? And then you have another person who knows it exists, meaning they know $12 trillion is out there available. These are documented statistics. You can go online and find them. And these individuals are looking to invest with you. And yes, these people don't know you from Adam, but they are willing to invest with individuals who have a track record of real estate success and can communicate that to them, not the person who's just looking for something for nothing. I think in my last video, it wasn't my last podcast, my last video, I talked about how someone that I know personally on Facebook, they're involved in real estate, they're in another state, and I guess it was some type of lunch and learn or a networking meeting. And there was a private investor who was talking to the group about being able to lend funds to investors. And the one thing that stuck out that that person has said, don't know them from Adam. When I mean, when I say that I don't know who they are, meaning a private investor, the one thing that they said is that if you can't communicate how you can make money from this deal, don't expect me to lend to this deal. And that is why I talked about the different mindset beliefs, because what a lot of people have to push through with, and this is the part that most people will not sell you on. They will sell you on, oh, if you want to raise private capital, specifically with self-directed IRAs, you have to put together a pitch deck. You got to put together some nice glossies, and people will go out and do all that. And by all means, it has its place. Yes, you want to have your nice presentation. Yes, you want to have, your real estate. But the thing that hits people against the wall is how to communicate what's in it for that investor. Hence the numbers. Women lie, men lie, numbers don't lie. And that is the thing that will differentiate the first person I talked about, which is the person who's just looking for money. They know there's an abundance of money out there. There's 12 trillion. There's not a person who can in this lifetime can use all that money. So they know that money is out there, but they have a mindset of how can I get something for nothing? And then there's a person who, like I said, they have a track record. They have something to measure against. They have something to communicate to an investor how what they are doing would benefit that investor, hence to get more money. Mindset beliefs are so important because a lot of people will sell you on. And this is what I'm seeing with the work that I'm doing now. A lot of people will sell you on what you need to do, almost like the process. Like I said, the website, the glossies, the pitch deck, or what have you. But that's not going to really get you over the hump. That is why in my last podcast episode, I showed you where you can get and find private lenders, self-directed private lenders. I went over that because most people are just giving you a whole bunch of information, but there's no context to move a person really to the results that they really do desire. That's why here on this podcast, if you're watching it on YouTube, there's an abundance of information. Even on my channel alone, over 800 videos. So, you know, there's no limits. I think in my last podcast episode, or maybe it was a video that I did during the week, I showed you books, because this is what I want to tell you, ladies and gentlemen. There are certain beliefs that you have with money that's either going to prevent you to move forward to getting access to raising capital, or there is some things that you just need to hunker down and just do, because there's an abundance of information. That's why I tell people, if you come to me, we're going to put you on the roadmap so you can be able to move past the limitations that you're dealing with, because it's not finding self-directed IRA investors. That's not the limit that people have, because $12 trillion available. I've pointed people to websites here, if you're watching on YouTube, to how you can find them. It's not about how to put together a pitch deck, because you can find those. There's always somebody who's willing to do that for you, but it's going to be you understanding your numbers. And that's the part that people don't want to do. I almost like to reference it to this. Whether you if you believe you have a mindset issue or you don't, I always tell people, if you've actively been doing real estate, don't matter what you've been doing. You've been doing wholesaling, you've been, buying properties, whether it's multifamily, single family, you have did something to be able to raise capital for yourself. You've been doing the activity and you don't even know you've been doing it. And what do you mean by that, Leroy? Well, if you did, let's just take wholesaling. That's usually how a person enters into the real estate market. I know when I started back in 2008, that's how I got started. I got started with wholesaling. I was literally helping my end buyer, who was a rehabber, get access to deals that he didn't even know existed, because I was a wholesaler. I did all the work on the front end, found the deals, put it under contract, and then from there, he was the person who bought it. Now, of course, I made a profit, he made a profit, but at the end of the day, I raised capital for his business, as well as for his family and for his wealth. So I tell people all the time, when they have those mindset, beliefs, or they're hitting a roadblock, you've already been doing the activity. But what happens is that for the person who's in lack, who feels like, I want to get something for nothing, little do they know they've already been doing the work, but they don't want to hunker down and really do the true work. Now, this is for people who are actually doing deals, not the person who, once again, another mindset block, who feels like, I got to get some money in order to do deals. No, you do not. That's why I use the example of the wholesaling. Find someone who needs what you want. If you lack capital, if you lack access to money, and you're not able to leverage anything, you got to leverage your skill set. And then when you leverage your skill set, because some people just need to know that it is possible, because that takes no money. And I'm not here to sell you on wholesaling, but there are many people who, they want to raise capital, but they have not did anything. And I know for me, I don't work with nobody where it's just a blank slate. And now you want me to fill in, all the places where it lacks color. Especially if you have already been sold on a person who's already told you how to raise capital. Most people, they try to come to me and they say, "Oh, I know what a self-directed IRA, people are. I've been doing this, I've been doing that, but I'm not getting no money." Now, once again, could I help? Yeah. But most of the time, people are already sold into a process that 9 times out of 10, it may work. I'm not saying it don't, but the thing is, it may work. But I just don't want to be in a place, because I let those individuals know, yeah, I totally get that you maybe already have been working on something, But if you work with me, this is what you're going to have to do. Because the main thing that I want to know, what have you did? What is your past track record when it comes to what type of real estate deals you've been doing? Whether it's rehabbing, whether it's buying multifamilies, being able to just raise capital, it depends on three things. It depends on you having the confidence to ask people about you wanting capital. Number two, it's the numbers to your deal. And then the third thing is honesty. Are you a person of your word? Because I've seen so many times where people have the gift of gab, they have the professional presence, they know how to say the right words, and they literally get people to lend to them money, but they know that they're missing the other two, meaning they don't really know how to communicate to get deals, meaning they don't have a track record of getting any deals, they have never did any deals. So now they can't really produce any type of yield for the money that they have been able to steward. And then number three, the third thing they lack is they're not honest, because raising capital is based on those three things. Those three things. Having the confidence to ask. Number two, knowing your numbers so you can communicate the yield to what it is that the investor wants. Because what is it that the investor who is lending you the money, what are they looking for? What type of return do they want on their money? Because this is what a lot of people don't know, especially when it comes with the work that I do with self-directed IRAs. When you are reaching out to cold individuals, is you need to know, and there's a process that I teach people of what you have to do to find out what is it that they're looking for, and then looking at what you do in real estate to say, can I even provide that to them? See, that's the other piece that a lot of people don't even talk about. Because most people, when it comes to this conversation of working with private lenders, there's some people that I've worked with that they've already established relationships with private lenders. But the thing is that their private lender runs the whole show. It's almost like going to a hard money lender. That's why I said raising capital with private lenders is totally different than a hard money lender. A lot of people want to put it together, but it's not. But when they're working with a private lender, outside of it being a hard money lender, the private lender is dictating all the terms. And once again, that's another mindset belief. Many real estate investors believe that just because this private lender is lending you the money, they are the ones who have to, create all the terms. And my thing is this: I think it should be a collective minds of the two of you, because at the end of the day, you're helping them build their wealth. The work that you do in real estate, the yields that you're able to produce, is helping them build their wealth. So it should be a collection. It should be a minds, two minds coming together. It should not just be one person who's collectively dictating everything, because that defeats the point of raising capital. Like, why would I want to do the deal, create the yield for the investor, and then the investor is still dictating to me how things are going to be, what the fees are going to be, what's going to be the split? So a lot of people don't know that there's so many ways that you can create a win for the both of you all. Because my thing is this: let the legal part be with the attorneys. I tell people all the time, that's not what I do. I'm no attorney. I don't play one on TV. So what I tell people when you come to me, no, I'm not going to give you templates on how you can give a private lender your agreement. I'm a big advocate of, let me refer you to an attorney that will help you. Why? Because the rules in the state of where you do business is different all over the country. Like, I'm here in New Jersey. I'm not going to know what the rules are in Louisiana or Arkansas or in Washington State. I'm just not going to know them, or in Vermont. So you need to work with somebody who can help you. But at the end of the day, the mindset beliefs is what holds people back. And so, as I told you all in my last podcast episode, I am talking a lot on this topic. I have more things to share with you when it comes to raising capital and self-directed IRAs. I will be doing some impromptu videos on my YouTube channel right now. I'm doing a podcast. It will be on all the podcasting platforms: Apple, Spotify, Amazon, iHeart, or what have you. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can actually see the video. But specifically on YouTube, I will be doing some impromptu videos about this topic. And so I would love to share more things with you. Like I said, if you've been following, I've been talking about it for the whole month of April. Different topics on raising capital. My last podcast episode, I talked about where to find them. And so, once again, letting the cat out the bag, because most people will try to sell you on scarcity and let you know that, oh, they're hard to find, this, that, and the other. I give you that. I show you, as long as you're willing to do the work, I give you that. I show you, hey, this is where you can find, self-directed IRAs. There's $12 trillion of assets under management with self-directed IRA custodians that are available for investors. So that means that that's just how much money is out there that you can potentially tap into. So the days are over. Like for individuals who are selling you on scarcity, and I know there's a lot going on with stuff in the Middle East as well as here in the US. Many people are going to sell you on scarcity. They're going to sell you that the sky is falling, the rates are high, there's no deals. But I'm here to be the voice of prosperity for you, to have you to believe that if you open your mind to other ways of being able to build your wealth, the things are there to assist you. I'm not here to sell you on anything salacious, because all this does take work. Like I said, raising capital is based on three things: you having a confident to ask, your ass, also knowing your numbers, and you being a steward of the money to be able to produce some type of yield for that investor. That is what it's based on. Anything else, it's going to sound salacious, and it may even be borderline fraud. So once again, this is Lorelia. Like I said, if you want to learn more about me, you go to www.neverloseadeal.com. Until the next time, I'll see you in the next podcast episode. Bye-bye.